What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we've got another 1000 round review for you. Today we're going to be talking about the Smith & Wesson Equalizer. Now, the Smith & Wesson Equalizer is a new pistol for 2022, came in late 2022, so it's only been around 6 months. We've had it in testing now for about that time, and we've got some pretty interesting results we'd like to share with you. Before we do that though, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you guys we have guns and ammo and cool stuff on the channel. We did buy the Equalizer from my local Shields with the Patreon dollar, so thank you very much. If you want to support the channel, that is the best way to do it. Just go down to the description of this video and there'll be a link there. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. It could really use your help, so please go down there and donate to those kids, and I'd really appreciate it. That link in the description will bring you right to the donate page. And I do want to thank Manning & Sons for sponsoring this 1000 round review and many of the 1000 round reviews we do. They're one of the biggest supporters of the channel. They've been supporting us for years, and I would appreciate if you support him as well. He's a dealer out of Illinois, and as you guys know, Illinois is cracking down on firearms, and would really appreciate it more than ever if you would go over there, check his stuff out. He's very pro Second Amendment, and he's an awesome dude. Now, the Smith & Wesson Equalizer is a pretty interesting pistol because it has a lot of features you would expect from a modern day carry gun, but it has a lot of things that actually separate it from it as well, which makes it a little bit more divisive, which is why it's good to do a video on it, because this is a great pistol for some people, but it's not such a great pistol for other people, and we'll go through all that. But let's talk about what it is first. This is a 3.5-inch barrel, internal hammer fired polymer frame pistol. So it's not a striker fired pistol, it's an internal hammer fired pistol, and it actually has a swappable mag release, but it doesn't have ambi controls. It does come with an optic system just like the Smith & Wesson Shield. This is from Smith & Wesson. It does have a lot of similarities with the Shield, but it's not a Shield. It has metal 3-dot sights, which is nice. That's a cool upgrade. I like to have metal sights on a carry gun. 3-dot sights are very classic. They're easy to use. I would prefer something more HD, like maybe something that comes on a SIG P365, but you can put those on there. Those sights are available for this. The sights are interchangeable with the Shield, as are the magazines. With a 3.5-inch barrel, 3.5-inch slide, and we do have some amazing front slide serrations on the front of the gun, which are very easy to run. That brings us to the first difference that you're going to have. This is a light rack system, so it's a very light recoil spring that allows a little bit less recoil and muzzle flip, but mainly what that does is allow people of smaller stature, very young or very old shooters that might have arthritis in their hands. Maybe you have an injury in your hand, which is very common. If you're like a boxer like me and you start to get a little arthritis, it can be harder and harder to run the slide. So it's nice to be able to run the slide very easily from multiple positions. That way in the morning when you want to put your carry gun into action, you can load that, put it in the holster, and not have to worry about it. The second thing that the gun comes with that's very unique is going to be a grip safety. Now that was really popular back in the day, not so popular now. Now a grip safety allows the gun to be completely safe until the grip safety is disengaged. You get your hand on there in a good fire control grip, and then the trigger will actually pull to the rear. If you don't engage the grip safety, nothing's going to happen there. Now the downside of the grip safety is that grip safety could disengage your trigger at a moment of necessity. So you could be fumbling around with the gun, you could be in a fist fight, you could be in a grappling situation, you could have a guy in guard, whatever it may be, and you might not be able to get your grip on that just right, which is why grip safeties on 1911s, the most famous gun with a grip safety, a lot of those were pinned back in the day, and a lot of those are pinned today, I might add. A lot of the most common 2011s that are coming out come out of the factory with that already pinned in place. So is that a good feature for you? Maybe. If you like that, then this is a gun for you. But if you don't like that, the Shield is probably a better option, and we'll compare them a little apples to apples here in a second. But the grip safety is going to be one of those things like a manual safety that if you really want it, then it's on there, but I'm going to tell you there are some cons to it, which we'll be getting into. Now we have a little bit more blocky of a grip than the Shield Plus, which is kind of what it's modeled after, and it's more flat and wide, so it's less side to side motion, but it can be a little bit more punishing on the center of your hand when you're shooting it, especially for long periods of time. This does hit you in the hand quite a bit, and it does make it a little less comfortable. Another thing that I noticed with my wife and maybe some of the other people that we shot with it is that when you do want to get in there deep and engage that grip safety, instead of going up the way you should be going, this is where your grip should look, controlling the entire pistol and maintaining a good fire control. What you actually end up doing, because of that grip safety, so uncomfortable squeezing that in real hard, is you might have a weaker grip, or you might do what my wife kept doing, which is come down on the pistol so it feels more comfortable. The downside of that is you're going to get a lot more muzzle flip. You're not going to be able to control a gun. So in my opinion, grip safeties are a little bit 50-50 for me, and this grip safety is probably a no-go for me personally. The way my hands fit, the way how big my hands are and stuff, it was very uncomfortable for me to shoot this long term, so I don't like this. But if you like this gun and you don't like the grip safety, again, the Shield Plus exists. The Shield Plus won't have the light rack system though, and that is going to be an issue for a lot of people with arthritic hands. And in all fairness, this I do feel like has a good recoil impulse because of the recoil spring. There's give and take to that as well. Now, we do have a Picatinny rail on it. We've got a pretty good trigger guard. We've got a pretty good undercut underneath there, although I don't feel like it's as comfortable as maybe some of the other guns I've shot, which is kind of interesting. I put a little bit more narrow trigger guard cut on there, and because of that, when my hand sits on there, sometimes it bumps my knuckle, kind of like the Gen 4, Gen 5 Glocks. The trigger pull and trigger reset is light and crisp. However, the trigger reset is not as intuitive as I would like. It's not very tactile, you can't hear it, and you can't really feel it. So if you shoot a lot of different guns, you'll find that the trigger pull with this is gonna be a little bit up in the air. Now if it's your only gun, you can certainly get used to that, but trigger resets are different with all guns. That's why I like to have an audible cue there that I am able then to pull the trigger and I'm gonna get around to go off. So I like when it's more tactile personally. Size is a little bit smaller than I like traditionally as well. Because I live in Iowa where it gets cold out here and I like to use gloves, and the gloves don't really fit in the trigger guard without messing with the trigger, and I don't like that. Now the gun does come with 3 mags, which is pretty awesome. It comes with a 10, a 13, and a 15. It's very cool. And on top of that, they are compatible with the Shield mags, which is super nice. So as you can see here, this is the big guy right here, and that works just fine. Then we have the medium guy, which is probably the guy I would carry it with. And then Shield out of my holster here. Then we got a mag, and this is the Shield mag. As you can see, it goes in there as well. I'm not gonna rack one in the chamber. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about the gun is that the Shield holsters are also super popular. Shield Plus and the Shield are 2 of the most popular carry guns of all time. And the downside of this gun is it super doesn't fit into the Shield holsters, but they do make Equalizer holsters, and they are getting more and more plentiful because Smith is a very big company. Now another thing that's interesting is it is a micro compact, not a micro subcompact, so it's going to be more on the lines of like almost a Glock 19 size as opposed to a Glock 26 size, but the difference is with the micros is that they're super thin, and that's what everybody's doing these days with the Hellcat, the P365, the Shield Plus. You're all getting these guns that have a 15 round capacity, but they're only an inch wide, and that makes it a lot nicer for carry. For you guys that are a little bit older, and back in my day, if you wanted a subcompact, there was really only a couple options, and the most common one was the Glock 26, and I was in the Glock 26 crowd. I carried that for a long time. I love my fat baby, but I call it a fat baby because she is a thick girl, and it's really nice to have a gun like this with capacity. You don't skimp out on recoil control or anything like that, and you get the thinness of a subcompact or like a micro compact, so you are not as uncomfortable on your stomach or maybe on your side, because the width of a gun when you carry it really does matter. And you can tell for sure that Smith designed this specifically for carry, and specifically for carry for elderly shooters or shooters that have arthritis or things like that. Now, as far as we'll get into the reliability of the reliability of the gun was excellent. We shot it with hollow points. We actually shot it with these right here, the Critical Duty 115 grain, because that's usually what I carry. For bigger guns, like I carry Critical Defense generally for like 3-inch barrel guns, and I carry Critical Duty for longer barrel guns because I find that the expansion works better for me that way. However, I do carry Federal HST a lot, and I do carry a lot of other rounds as well. People hit on me sometimes for just carrying Hornady. I like Hornady a lot, but it's not the only ammo I carry. But it is the only ammo we tested in the gun. And it does have a ballistic tip, which I find sometimes guns can be a little sensitive to or not, and this one wasn't. We also shot 115 grain Remand ammunition through this. We shot Steel Challenge ammunition through this. We shot Blazer Brass 115. Thanks for Manning & Sons, by the way, for sending that over. The majority of the ammo we did shoot was Blazer 115. The reliability was excellent, and that's 100% what you want for a carry gun. Absolutely 100% reliable. Accuracy doesn't matter as much as reliability, because, in my opinion, because reliability, if the gun doesn't go off, you're fucked. But accuracy is paramount, obviously, as well in a concealed carry situation, because you might be shooting in public. You might have to make a very precise surgical shot. And in the accuracy platform, 0 to 15 yards, we were absolutely good. Now, does it fall off at distance? Yes, it did for me. We're gonna pot shot at 100 yards with this thing. We got the 15 rounder in there now. Nothing. I don't think we're gonna be able to hit anything from here. For some reason, I can't seem to get it where I want it. And then that happens. Now, I did in the first shots, and I thought that was more of like maybe just that day type of thing, but I will admit that I do shoot the shield significantly more accurately than I do the equalizer. And I wonder if that's because when the equalizer trigger is pressed and it goes off, it is all the way to the rear, as you can see that. Whereas the Shield Plus, I actually have a little bit of play there, and you can see I've got maybe half an inch longer of trigger reach on this, and now I have a pretty big hand. I'm 6'4". I mentioned that in videos. I'm not trying to like say anything by it as much as I'm just trying to say guns fit hands differently. So if you're watching this review and you're 5'4", this gun might fit you better than this gun. So keep that in mind. But for me personally, I think the main reason why I shoot this more accurately than the equalizer is because I think the trigger is better in this. I like the flat face better, I like the break better, I like where it positions better, and I like the reset better, all on the shield. So I do prefer the shield shooting experience over the equalizer because of that. But it's not a slouch. Now it shoots fast, it shoots accurate, and it would be just fine as far as a defensive gun overall. And if you like the features of the light rack system, and these do come with a manual safety or without, just like the Shield, if you want a manual safety, you want a grip safety, you want a light rack system, and you're set on that, this gun will shoot just fine enough for you. And if you develop your shooting style to the gun, it shouldn't bother you. So just keep that in mind. Now, as far as like I kind of touched on this already, but as far as the speed category, I definitely shoot the Shield faster. And that's because of the reset of the trigger, and that's just because of the way the ergonomics I like, and that's just because this gun has a grip safety, and after a while I just don't even like shooting the damn thing because it kind of hits my hand. So speed is definitely going to err toward the Shield as well, but again, no slouch here. Now, I've been hitting on this gun a little bit, but I probably shouldn't, and I'm splitting hairs here, and I'm trying to give you the difference between this and its other major offering, which is the more popular Shield. But the reality is, this is a Shield for old people, kinda, right? Like, if you want the light rack system and if you want the grip safety, which is very common in older generations, this is kind of what Smith did this for. And I think overall, this is an excellent pistol. And I did hit on it a little bit because it's not made for me, but if you're not the demographic for something, you're not the demographic for something. And I gotta tell you, the gun was reliable, it was accurate, it was fast. And a gun like this, the quality of these guns they're getting so much better that there isn't just bad guns and good guns anymore. There's usually good guns and great guns and then amazing guns. Like, a lot of the guns that have come out over the past 10 years have been such an improvement over a lot of the ones we had previous to this because of modern technology, modern machining, CNC processes that are 1/1000th of an inch apart. Most of these guns that we're getting now are very reliable, and there's very few of them that have problems, and this one is one of those. Durable, reliable, long-lasting, made of good materials, made of a company that has a good track record and a good warranty system. And I think that you would be hard-pressed to do wrong with this gun as long as you get into it knowing that it has these features. So the only thing I didn't like about it was the features that make the gun separate from all the modern guns today, which is kind of funny, but if you're in the crowd, you know, the cold nursing home crowd, you're absolutely gonna love this pistol. Now, I think that the weight of it, the 22 ounce overall weight, is a little bit heavier than some of the Micro 9s today, and that helps with that reduced recoil, and I think overall the pistol handled itself very well. So I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's not for me, but it is for a lot of people. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please stop by our local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.